Hey, this is Chip Mitchell back at you with another edition of Enjoy the Ride. I'm so excited that you've joined me this time again. I so appreciate all the support. Hey, if you have not, please like and subscribe. Really appreciate the support. Our community is growing day by day. We're well over 900 members in this community, which absolutely blows my mind. But hey, listen, I was just doing a lot of thinking, looking at a number of things and seeing a number of videos out there. And, the question has come up periodically. What about the Spyder? How does the Spyder stack up against the Ryker? And so I figured let's just do a little talk about the Spyder versus the Ryker. And, at the same time, I got another video, just me out riding one early morning, just going on a quick ride to grab some coffee at Starbucks. And so I said, man, let's talk this through, because people ask all the time, which one should I get? Maybe you're out there and you're trying to figure out which one to get. Should you get the Spyder or should you get the Ryker? And I thought I'd do a little kind of chat about the differences between the two. And then what I thought I'd do is do another video. My good friend Alfred, he has the Spyder, and I thought maybe what I'll do after I go through these differences, I'll go and I'll ride his Spyder, have him ride my Ryker, and then we'll come back and give you kind of our feedback on what's the difference in them. But before we do that, I thought I'd do a little kind of research on what are some of the differences? Well, the first one right off the bat is price. If you're looking at either the Ryker or the Spyder, the F3, the entry level, the basic one of the F3, the price, there's no comparison. The entry level for a Ryker, $600 is $8,400. It's twice that to get into a Spyder. But if price is not an issue, then it really doesn't matter. But if price is an issue for you, then obviously the Ryker is at that price point that Can-Am came up with to really just get folks into the market, folks that maybe were on the fence about possibly doing a motorcycle, but weren't sure. They tried to come in at a price point with the Ryker, it's stripped down, and boom, there you go, $8,400, and you're on a bike. So the first big difference, obviously, that many people know is the price. But what is the main difference is that the Ryker is kind of it's a stripped down version of the Spyder. The Spyders came out first, and then the Ryker came, and the Ryker is just this stripped down version that allows you to have the three-wheel experience at a lower cost with a bike that doesn't have all the bells and whistles that the Spyder has. The Spyder, and even on their website, they say it's for extreme riding, getting out and really going. That's kind of how they market the Spyder versus the Ryker. The Ryker, the engine, the differences there, obviously with the Ryker, you can get 600 or the 900 with 82 horsepower. And the Spyder, you're looking at the, 1,300. And instead of 82 horsepower, you're getting 105. But the weight difference on that, you're talking 600 pounds for the Ryker, and then over 800 pounds for the Spyder. So it's kind of, that doesn't affect the speed. Like they both, 0 to 60, that Ryker is going to get it. The Ryker is going to win. But when you think about the fuel tank, the fuel tank on the Ryker is going to get you anywhere from 150 to 190 miles. I've gotten 190 miles on one tank of gas in the regular mode, where on the Spyder, you can go 252 miles on one tank of gas. Much bigger, tank, so you're going to get a further distance for the Spyder. And quite frankly, Spyder is made to go further on the highway. It's made to do long distance hauls more so than the Ryker. When you look at the Spyder's frame, it's a much more beefier frame. It's heavier, it's beefier, and the Spyder, honestly, it sits higher. Where you sit on the Ryker is kind of, you're in the Ryker. It's kind of like you are part of the Ryker. It has your body lower with the tank up, whereas on the Spyder, you're sitting up. Now, the interesting thing, that height difference on there, I think the Ryker is 24, the seat height is 24 inches, and I think the Spyder is 26 inches. It's like a 2.5 inch difference. But the way it's designed, you sit on the Spyder versus sitting in the Ryker. And so that's a little bit of a difference in how you sit on it. Now, depending on what you really enjoy more of is, that's preference, that's personal preference. But you do sit a little bit higher on the Spyder, 2.5 inches or so. But the way it sits, you're sitting on the Spyder versus on the Ryker, you're actually sitting in the Ryker. And that's a bit of a difference. With that weight difference, one of the things you're probably going to notice on the Spyder versus the Ryker, it's got a smoother ride than when you're riding on the Ryker. It's just a much smoother ride. Why? Because it's a heavier bike. The frame is heavier. It's got more weight, and it has some things with regards to its steering and so forth that are different than the Ryker. And you're going to feel a smoother ride. Now, does that mean the Ryker is not a smooth ride? The Ryker's smooth. You see me here. I'm just cruising along. It's a fantastic ride. It's not annoying. I've gone 250 miles in a day on this bike and wasn't sore or uncomfortable or anything like that. But the Spyder is made for those long distance highway rides. So you are going to feel a bit more comfortable by far on the Spyder. Let's talk about the transmission. So on the Ryker, they call it a twist and go. So in other words, everything is automatic. There's no gear shifting on your part. There's no clutch on your part. It's just twist and go. It does everything for you. It makes the gear shifts and so forth. Whereas on the Spyder, you've got a 6-speed transmission, which is pretty cool because now this transmission, this gear shift that you have on the Spyder, you don't have a clutch, a manual clutch. What you have just like a paddle shifter, similar to what you have on some sports cars. You have it right on the steering column and you just hit the gears. You have to shift the gears up. So when you start, you don't have a clutch, so you don't have to pull in the clutch and change a gear. You literally just press the button, press the plus, and it shifts all the way up to 6 gears, which is kind of cool if you're into shifting, kind of that paddle shifting, where you can rev that baby on up and then bam, bam, and hit those gears and it'll shift. It's a 6-speed transmission. So you'll have for some that's a lot of fun, to be able to shift through your gears like that. So a lot of people really enjoy that, and that gives you a little more control. Now, the interesting thing with the Spyder is as you shift up, now let's say you shift up, you get up in the 5th or 6th gear and you hit the brakes. Well, the Spyder automatically downshifts for you. You don't have to downshift. It automatically will downshift for you, which is really cool. That way, you don't have to do it. Now, you can downshift on your own, but if you hit the brakes, it automatically downshifts and puts you in the right gear. Where with the Ryker, you don't have to do anything. You twist, you go. You get off that throttle, it automatically begins to slow down because it downshifts for you. But there's no paddle shifting on the Ryker. Now, the Ryker's storage capacity, and on the Ryker, you've got 1.8 gallons of storage. Now what is that? That is pretty much it's tiny, right? 1.8. If you have seen some of my videos, I did a whole thing on how do I everyday carry on my Ryker. And granted, you only got 1.8, but there's some tricky things that you can do to really take advantage of that 1.8 gallon liter storage. But it's not a lot, right? Now, the storage capacity on the Spyder, listen to this, 6.5 gallons. I mean, totally different. It's a trunk. We on the Ryker, you got a front. You don't even get the front. You get the that's it. Where you really get a front on the Spyder, you get all up to 6.5 gallons. That's a lot. The other thing that's different on the Spyder is you get LED lights that come standard with it. Hey, that's a big deal. To get the LED lights. Right off the bat, most of us, that's one of the upgrades that we're going to do. But so what do you do? How do you make a decision? How do you look at these two and kind of go, what's best for you? Well, I think a lot of it comes down to personal preference. I don't ride my Ryker envious of Spyders and thinking, man, I want a Spyder. I really want a Spyder. The Ryker has some unique things that are really cool about it. One, the customization of it, what you can do with all the panels and things like that, that it really has a huge market for that, because I think they targeted a younger crowd of that. And that's something that's really eye-catching and appealing to that younger crowd. And, so that's another thing. It's smaller and lighter. So its ability to be stored, if you don't have a lot of storage space in your garage or something like that, or the nimbleness of it when you're getting out in the city and so forth, it's nice and nimble. Now, with the Spyder, is it nimble? Absolutely. You can get around, do all the same things. It's a fantastic bike. I mean, wow. But a lot of it is personal preference. Are you going to be doing a lot of long trips? Are you going to be, getting on the highway and going for days and things like that? You're going to, think that through with regards to the Ryker versus the Spyder. If you're going to be doing that, the Spyder, I don't think there's much of a comparison. The Spyder comes with electronic steering. So there's an assisting mode in the steering, like power steering, versus with the Ryker, you don't have that. Now, do you feel that? You really don't. But with a bigger bike, you would feel it more if you didn't have it. But boy, is it nice when you get in there and turning and it's really smooth. That's a great feature. But if that's not important to you, then, it's not like you need it. If it's not important to you, if that's something of great value to you, then, that'll go into your buying decision. And again, a lot of this is personal preference. And then there's some of this that may be, hey, you know what? I really want the Cadillac that's out there. And, the Spyder is that beginning stages. You got a number of different models in there of that Cadillac version. That's what it is. The Ryker is that entry-level version of the three-wheel community. And it really lets you get in there to have a lot of fun, to do pretty much everything that the Spyder can do. It can pretty much do, but it's going to do it a little bit differently. And is how it does it different? That difference if to make you say, I'm going to spend double or triple the money? Yeah, you may want to do that. If money's really not an issue, you do that. If money wasn't an issue for me, what would I buy? Would I buy the Spyder or would I buy the Ryker? It all depends on that size and fitting in my garage, to be perfectly honest. If money wasn't an issue, I guess if money wasn't an issue, I'd build a bigger garage, right? But I tell you, it's a toss-up for me. I mean, I like both of them. I think they're both incredible. I'm having so much fun with the Ryker, you know, and I'm sure I would have just as much fun on the Spyder. But, you know, the cost difference that's a big deal for me. You know, the Spyder is in a market that I just can't go. I just don't have that kind of money to purchase a Spyder. I just don't have it. But what the Ryker brings to the table and what I'm missing out on the Spyder at this cost, I go, you got to be kidding me, man. I'm all in on the Ryker, and I'm thrilled with it. So this is my early interpretation of the Spyder versus the Ryker. Now, what I'm going to bring to you and sometime in the future is a true riding comparison where I'm going to have my good friend Alfred. I'm going to call him and say, hey, Alfred, I got a favor. Let's swap bikes, go for a ride, come back, and let's tell the differences in those rides. And let's be honest, you know, I know his is much different than mine, and he's got a really cool F3 Spyder. He got new decals on it, and that thing looks awesome. And so I'll do a video on that. But hey, look, here are just a few differences between the Ryker and the Spyder. I hope this helps you out if you're out there considering which to buy. I hope this helps you to kind of begin that thought process and figure out what's best for you. But I want to say thank you for joining and being with me and enjoying the ride. Listen, you have an incredible day. Let's stay in touch. Remember, like and subscribe. It helps the channel. My name's Chip Mitchell.